say there is a square of side A, and now this is a diagonal. So for a square, or length of the diagonals will be same. So drawn from this two vertex, joining this two vertex or these two vertex, diagonal length will be same. And how to calculate the length of the diagonal? So for square, all sides are equal, and if there is a square of side A, so this length is also A, and we need this diagonal length. And can you figure out any shape here? So it is an isosceles triangle. So triangle which has two same sides, and it is also a right angle triangle. So when we have a right angle triangle, so you will be aware of this Pythagoras theorem. So for a right angle triangle, the hypotenuse square will be equal to sum of squares of the other two sides. So using that Pythagoras theorem, we can find the length of the diagonal. So now here, this is a right angle triangle. So I have taken half of the square to show you to calculate the length of the diagonal. So this is D, A, and we have a right angle which contains the sides A. So now D square is equal to the sum of the sides, square of sum of sides, which contain this 90 degree. Now what is A square plus A square? 2A square. So D square is 2A square. We need only D, length of the diagonal. Now what is the length of the diagonal? Root of 2A square. So taking square root on either side. So diagonal is A root 2. So A square root is A. For 2 it is root 2. So diagonal of a square is root 2 times A. And what is the unit for a diagonal? So it is just units, whether it is centimeter or meter. So root 2 times A, centimeters or meters. Only for area we have square units. For volume, cubic units. For a diagonal, it is just the length, whether it is centimeters or meters, we write just the units. Now diagonal of a square is root 2 times A. So for a square of side A, diagonal is root 2 times A. Now how to calculate the diagonal for a rectangle? So rectangle is a one where opposite sides are same. So here this is the length, and the opposite side is also same, and that is the length, and the shorter side is called as the breadth, and this opposite side is also the breadth, which is same. So when the opposite sides are same, then it is a rectangle. And now what is the diagonal for a rectangle? So this is one of its diagonal. So for a rectangle also, length of the diagonals, we have two diagonals, all same length. Both the diagonals are of same length. And now to calculate the length of the diagonal. So the same right angle triangle we have. What is the Pythagoras theorem concept? So D square is sum of the sides, square of sum of sides which contain this 90 degree. So it is L square plus B square. So diagonal is square of this length and breadth and added, take square root. And units here is just the same units. So diagonal of a rectangle of length and breadth so it is root of L square plus B square. So for a square, length and breadth both same. So we'll add this. So L square, if it is, this is also L square, we'll add, we get 2A square, and we got for a square because both same sides. So here for a rectangle, these sides are different. So diagonal is square of length and breadth add and take square root. Now we'll see how to calculate diagonal of a cube. So what is a cube? So a cube is a one which has height. So square, rectangle are all two-dimensional pictures. The cube is a one which has sides and height also. So now I'll draw a cube. The cube is a one which is formed on a square. Three-dimensional picture which is formed on a square. So for this all sides are same. Length, breadth, height. So all the sides are same. So example for a cube is a die or an ice cube. We can imagine a ice cube or a die for a cube. And how to calculate the diagonal length for a cube? So diagonal for this base is root 2 times a. And having this, so base we have this diagonal, and when we join this, so here this is root 2 times a and here this is a. Now squaring both, adding and taking square root, for a cube we have root 3 times a. So for a cube, diagonal is, so having this diagonal as root 2 times a, squaring that we have 2a, and here is another a, so this diagonal will be, so this root 2. So now when this is square, it is 2a square, and this height, if it is square, it is another a square. And here we have got a right angle triangle. So now taking square root, it is 3a square. So diagonal is root 3 times a. So for a cube, so of sides, length, breadth and height, so all is same. So diagonal is root 3 times a. And here units. Units is just the units. And now we'll see how to calculate diagonal for a cuboid. So a cuboid is also a three-dimensional figure, so which is formed on a triangle, rectangle. So where base is the rectangle. So this is a cuboid which is formed on a rectangle. So what are the examples for a cuboid? So it is a brick or a pencil box. So we can have an example of a cuboid as a brick. So here this is the length, this is the breadth, and this is the height. A three-dimensional figure which is formed on a rectangle is a cuboid. And now what will be diagonal of a cuboid? So following the same concept, so for this rectangle, base rectangle, so diagonal is 2 root of l square plus b square. And now to find this diagonal, so this is the height, and here we have l square plus b square. Now diagonal is square this, root vanishes, and now square this height. So here this is a right angle triangle. By the Pythagoras theorem, the hypotenuse square equal to square of this base and this height. So l square plus b square plus h square. Now what is diagonal of a cuboid? That is root of l square plus b square plus h square. Now for a cuboid, diagonal is length of the diagonal so length, breadth and height. So diagonal is root of l square plus b square plus h square units. So units are very important. So you will be seeing in lower classes. So if you miss the unit, you lose 1 mark. So for square units it is square, for area it is square unit, for volume it is cubic units. For a diagonal, it is just the length, so it is just units. So now we saw how to calculate the diagonals for a square, rectangle, cube and a cuboid. So now we'll see what is the difference between a square and a rhombus and a rectangle and a parallelogram. A square is a one which has all sides same. So if one side is A, if all sides are same, so then it is a square. And for the square, diagonals are same or of equal length. So they are of equal length and they bisect each other. Suppose length of the diagonal is 10, so if another diagonal cuts that, so this portion is half of the diagonal. So if this is 10, if this is 5, the other part will be 5 and all the four parts will be equal. So in a square, all sides are same and diagonals are also equal and they bisect each other. And what is the shape which shares the features of a square? So it is a rhombus. A rhombus is a one, so where all sides are same. So like a square, for a rhombus, all sides are same. And what is the difference between a square and a rhombus? So same properties are, sides are same. So the difference is the rhombus diagonals are of different length. So they are not equal. And another difference is for a square, it is 90 degree in the corners. But for a rhombus, it is not a 90 degree. So, and diagonals are also not same. But they bisect each other. Say this portion will be same and the other it bisects, but all will be of different length. So each diagonal is bisected, but the diagonals are not of same length. So when we try to make the diagonal same, or when we try to make this angle as 90, this becomes a square. So for a rhombus and a square, all sides are same, but the difference is for a square, diagonals are same and bisect. For a rhombus, diagonals are not same, but they bisect each other. And now we'll see the features of a rectangle. Say a rectangle is a one where the opposite sides are same. And the diagonals of a rectangle are also equal and they bisect each other. So whenever any symbol is marked, so all are of same size. So here we have a single line, it means that all sides are same. So here the single line, lengths are same and opposite sides are same, but are of different length. When opposite sides are same, then it is called as a rectangle. Diagonals are equal and they bisect each other. And which is the shape which shares the property of the features of a rectangle? So it is a parallelogram. So in a parallelogram also opposite sides are same. And what is the difference between a rectangle and a parallelogram? Diagonals are not equal. So here for a rectangle also, so the vertex is 90 degree. But for a parallelogram, the vertex is not 90. But when you add these two angles, we get 180 degree. So sum of angles in this parallel sides is 180. Or the converse also is true. So whenever you add two angles and if it is 180, the lines are parallel.